Hey guys, and welcome back. So I just wanted to run through kind of what's been working for me in ninth edition, what hasn't been working so well, a little bit of a list update as well for kind of what I'm planning on running and what I have been running. Yeah, just a general kind of update really. So it looks like we are incredibly powerful in ninth edition, which is really fun to see. Like loads of Harlequin lists are topping the tables, and everyone seems to be doing pretty well with them. That seem to absolutely terrify most opponents as well. So overall, we have a really, really strong position at the moment. Majority of the lists seem to be running either Sword and Spike or Frozen Stars. No surprise there, really. And I've been sort of toying around with a few different lists because, as you guys might know by now, like I like to look at the meta, see what I want to take away from it, but also to try and kind of inject my own thing and sort of fit my own playstyle. So I've had 3 games recently, 2 against Death Guard and 1 against Space Wolves, and all of them have been pretty good, I have to say. Like there are certain units and choices that I've really enjoyed. One thing that I found absolutely deadly is the Death Jester with the Dreaming Shadow, Cegorach's Lament, the Luck of the Laughing God, and the Jest Inescapable. He has been absolutely devastating. I know that it's another relic to take, and it's also quite a lot of investment for something like that, but I mean, in 2 turns he took out Ragnar and the Space Wolves. He's taken out warlords and given me Slay the Warlord a few times. He clears hordes quite well just because, you know, popping that 1 CP strat and then having just the amount of mortal wound potential there, like just a little bit is really good. So I definitely want to keep him in my list. I did try and run sort of the whole thing as Dreaming Shadow, although the main bulk of my army is Dreaming Shadow. That I'm less keen on. I wanted to, but then I kind of realized that I keep forgetting the trait a little bit in terms of like the shoot when you die, and B, it just doesn't stand up in comparison to something like a Frozen Stars. The other DJ that I do really like to have in there is just bog standard in a Skyweaver or jumping out the Skyweaver and running around holding objectives. And just reducing the movement by 2 inches and deny Overwatch. It hasn't really come, like the deny Overwatch doesn't really come into effect that much, but it's useful for things like I need to charge a plague drone and I don't want those auto hitting flamers. Those sorts of situations quite useful. So I do like it. Now that the flamers are increasing their range as well, I think it's a pretty good combo. The one that I like, but I haven't had as much success with, is the Troupe Master. With the Twilight Fang, I did make him my warlord at one point and gave him Player of the Dark and Darkness Bite. I like the idea of this guy. I just don't like him as my warlord because it's just such an easy warlord kill, and then I need him on the front lines, you know. I need him on the front lines. I don't want him to be sort of so susceptible to that sort of damage. Particularly since, I mean, most of the time people are going to be taking Assassinate against me, but say the Warlord is also, it's usually a fairly easy 6 points. And I've been taking it quite often in my games just because if I can grab as many primary points as I can in the first 3 turns and then get Slay the Warlord and whatever Recon is called these days, enough times and whatever else I want to do, then I usually have enough of a lead that I don't really need to kind of, you know, sort of take something like Assassinate where I might get an extra 3 points or something. It's just not, it's an easy kill and an easy 6 points. So I've quite enjoyed that one. Other things that I have been finding really useful is obviously the Shadowseer with the Veil of Illusion and my kitten, sorry. I really enjoyed that. I haven't given him the Shadowstone that often just because I haven't found it that necessary, honestly. I get him into position a little bit better, and yeah, the extra 3 inches would be fantastic, but often I find that if I'm like in the situations where I really, really need it, I already have everything kind of in the right position anyway. So it doesn't really make a massive difference. And there are other stratagems and things that you can pull out the bag just to make sure that everything else works. So I really like those sort of combos with our characters. I think they've been very, very powerful. I still like actually MSU troops with Frozen Stars. I tried Soaring Spike. I tried Dreaming Shadow. I like Frozen Stars. The big troops I actually started sort of looking at more in terms of Dreaming Shadow just to avoid morale and that sort of thing. But yeah, I like the small troops and I like them Frozen Stars. I like them in transport so I can get there quickly. And our transports are just fantastic now. Like their ability just to get exactly where you need them. Yeah, this is what I'm living with at home. So I haven't got much painting done, but they're just really fantastic. And I have as well taken a Voidweaver recently in every list so far, or every larger list at 2,000 points. And they're okay. They do the same thing as my transports do. I don't really, I mean, the damage output is negligible. I don't really mind having it. It doesn't really do very much for me. I understand why you might want to just take another transport and put some troop in there. But I'm playing with what I have, and I have, 2 Voidweavers painted up, and I only have 3 Starweavers, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. I would consider maybe just having another troop in another Starweaver, freeing up some points for some other things, but honestly, I'm quite liking the list as it stands. And the other thing that I've really enjoyed is having the double patrol with a Solitaire and the Yncarne. I'd never used the Yncarne before. I didn't own one before because I only ever played real like codex pure Quins. But the Yncarne just has this psychological effect on your opponent, which I just love. Doing things like the transport explodes and then basically the Yncarne gets there and forces your opponent to go farther, to deploy further away, or you've got things like him just popping up and just casting psychic powers left, right and centre, or just little things that he can do that I really enjoy. She is very expensive for the points, but I like it. And I like having the Solitaire actually in this edition. I didn't rate the Solitaire as much actually in 8th edition, despite the fact that lots of people have stopped taking it in this edition, but I actually really like the potential, again, just to kind of harass and disrupt the opponent. And the mixture of the Yncarne and the Solitaire being able to do both, I think is actually worth a 2 CP, and I've been quite enjoying that. And it also gives me the options of having my Kitty Death Jester in Dreaming Shadow without having the majority of my army, basically taking a worse trait than I would want them to. So you'll find the list below and what I've kind of updated it to in a moment. As you guys know, I did experiment a little bit with running a Ynari detachment for the CP generation and the Hungering Blade, but I just found that the CP investment was so high and the returns just weren't very good because as a Quins player, as you guys know, like A, we need a lot of CP, and B, you use a lot in 1 or 2 turns, and so only getting maximum of 1 back, I don't see the point, At this point, now I'm starting with 7 CP, and honestly getting the 1 back is probably going to give me a lot more return on that. Plus the Ynari trait, they need, let's be honest, they need to be rewritten. And honestly, it would be nice to see Ynari coming into their own as a faction. It'd be nice if they got like their own unique units or their own unique ways of buffing units as well. And yeah, I mean, really honestly, Rise of the Phoenix, everything else was just, it nerfed them into the ground. Yeah, let's be honest. So yeah, Ynari hasn't been working so well for me. But actually, everything else in our codex is viable, and it's amazing to see how you can make it like very versatile, like in comparison to what I would have been running before. Before I would have just stuck with 18 jet bikes if I could, and as many troop and transport as I could fit in, and that was basically it. And a few characters running around. whilst now, excuse me, just having all of these options in terms of what can actually be effective in gameplay is really fantastic. So yeah, I've really loved 9th edition so far. My Harlequins have been scary good at this point. I'm actually having to tone things down a little bit for a few of the players who are less experienced essentially, but I've really enjoyed it, and I'm continuing to enjoy this edition. So how have you guys done? Have you been topping tables? Have you been able to attend any tournaments with everything going on at the moment? Let me know your experiences and your lists as always. Like and comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys, everyone who has subscribed recently. We've got quite a few new people who come over from Mini Wargaming who chaos bombed me, if you haven't seen already. So I am calling on all servants of Cegorach to Cegorach bomb Mini Wargaming as often and as largely as you possibly can. But yes, thank you very much, guys, for watching. I've been Kit. This has been Goes to Webway. You'll find my list below. Let me know what you think. See you next time. Bye for now.